Can you see that? Okay. Okay. Do you find it more difficult to write stories with dystopian science fiction feel or more realistic feel like the Ashleys?
I think the dystopian epic fantasy is actually more fun, but it is more, I don't know if it's challenging, but it is, kind of world building, so it takes longer.
It takes more forethought. Like, you have to really think out the world and the rules involved before you go into it. So there's a little extra effort in there, but it pays off because it's fun.
Yeah, I think the Ashley was a lot easier to write because I did base it on, kind of my middle school life too, as I wanted it to be.
Okay, without giving too much away, can you describe your favorite scene in Cruz?
I definitely think our most favorite scene would give away too much, so we'll go
It's basically the end of the book when this really awesome thing happens. But actually,
there's a lot of little favorite scenes. There's a lot of kind of unexpected twists in Frozen. A lot of moments where we think there's going to be a conflict, and it turns out Wes. Yeah, there's a great little scene where they're being. There's a couple scenes where they're being chased by these seekers, and you think that there's going to be a big fight, and it turns out all they're looking for is a bribe. So we're really interested in corruption, and so a lot of times when you think there's going to be violence in Frozen, you get surprised and something else happens.
Authors usually say they hear a lot of voices in their mind. Who do you think speaks the loudest for you?
Probably. I think both of them are pretty loud. Yeah. They're both big personalities.
We spend a few years with each of them, so they're definitely people that we like having in our.
I think Wes may be a little louder because Nat has a darker past, so she was kind of harder to crack. Yeah, she kind of didn't want to talk to us at all. At first, she didn't want to reveal her secret.
Thank you so much.
That looks good.
We're gonna put this in.
I'm gonna zoom in on that.
When naming your characters as the themes, do you give any extra thought behind it?
Oh, there's so much thought into the name. I mean, the name is so important. And I think that's why I really like unusual names, like Skylar was actually a name of a friend of mine who was a guy who came from an old American family. And I just thought that was such a cool, fancy name, because it wasn't, it was pronounced differently from the way it was spelled, so you kind of had to be an insider to know how to pronounce it, so I always liked it. And then Bliss came from, I think, Blythe Danner. I always liked her name, Blythe. But I thought if I named a character Blythe, you would just think of that actress. She's not even that famous, but she's like the only Blythe anybody knows.
You want to think of the character, not some other reference.
And I always like the name Natasha. I think for War and Peace, I always like that. And I like that the short name is Napt, which is really cool. And I think you like Wes.
Names are really important to me. I've been working on an adult novel for a long time, and I've changed names so many times because names can sound really contrived if you don't get them right. And you have to reflect the character a little bit and the world and still sound natural. So I actually just continually change names until they feel right. I've had characters go through 3 or 4 until it just kind of sticks and you can't change it anymore.
I'm really good at this. I give a lot of my characters
names. Mel likes names.
Yeah.
I take credit.
I actually struggle. I spend a long time on names.
I named a lot of those characters. They're good names.
What was your first reaction when you heard that Witches of East End had got picked up and everything was green light to go?
What's so funny is it was so stress-free because when I sat down with Erwin, he said, we're going to make this in a TV show. It's going to happen. And for some reason, they said that to me too when we did Blue Bloods, but Erwin was just so calm about it, and he was not, he was just really calm, and he was like, I make things happen, that's what I do. And I was like,
it always seemed like it was going to happen.
And so for 2 years I knew, like he said, it's going to happen. So it was almost not a surprise. I mean, we were really excited. And they actually, in Hollywood, the way that they don't have any leaks is that everybody finds out the formal news all at the same time. So they woke up Irwin, and he was shooting in London with Tom Cruise. And he, at 4 a.m. and they roused him out of bed so he could call me. And and we found out in 10 minutes later it's on deadline. So everybody found out at the same time, and it was really exciting. And I was like, oh wow! And I was like, well, I kind of knew it was gonna happen because Irwin said it would. And Lifetime actually really wanted to do the book, so they actually came to us and said we want this book. So it kind of felt like, things were going in a good direction. But I was definitely so excited.
Okay, what's the most fun aspect for writing for young adults? Because you write adults, young adults, it's kind of a big difference there.
Yeah, there is a different feeling. That age is when you really fall in love with books and when you read a lot. So to me, it's always been a really special time. It's when I first loved books and got really deep into characters and read long form novels. So that age is really special to me, and it's a really fun age. It's really about discovering yourself for the first time and who you are. So it's fun to drop back into those shoes once again and be that age if you mean your characters.
I always say it's fun to write for teens because when you write for teens, the 16-year-old bad boy who drives a motorcycle and steals cars is so sexy. But if he was
He's our favorite type of
guy.
guy.
And if he was 30, he'd be such a loser.
And creepy.
And creepy, right? But when they're young and their world is ahead of them, it's a great time for them.
What's the most funniest or most unusual fan interaction you've had during this tour?
Huh. Our fans,
We've had a great
our
time.
fans are great.
People have laughed, and we joke around, and we like to have fun at the readings, and people have really responded well to it.
Yeah, no, I don't think we've had, I've heard authors with, kind of strange fans, and I think we're really lucky.
Yeah, we have, nobody's coming in costume.
We have really great fans. I mean, that would be great.
Yeah, that would be
that
cool,
would be fine. I think on this tour, it's just been really nice. I actually, a lot of our fans come a lot, so a lot of them, are very familiar, and I remember them, especially in Los Angeles, where I do a lot of events. I'm like, oh, it's so great to see you again. It's so nice to see you.
You always see a lot of familiar faces.
Yeah, so I've been doing Move Buds for so long, and touring every year. So I'm kind of like, do I met you? I recognize you, but I really like that. It's like kind of seeing, your book family.
Yep.
So.
That's nice. One last question. I know you've traveled a lot, and there's so many places to go. Where's one place you guys haven't been to that you're like, I really want to go there?
Probably so many.
A lot.
We've been, we haven't. I spent time in Tokyo, but we haven't been there together. Lately, we've been wanting to go
talking
there
about
together.
Tokyo, yeah.
And Iceland too. Must be all the heat in LA.
Yeah, we keep wanting to go somewhere with
Maybe
a lot
it's
of
frozen.
snow.
It's inspired
Yeah.
us. I want to stay in an ice hotel.
Yeah, we want to go to Iceland and Tokyo.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.